the Iron Dome.
Stop.
That's all I'm going to say.
I don't care about any Iron Dome. I don't trust that guy as far as I can.
Anyways, yeah, the void. Yeah, it's huge. It's massive, and that's not
Yes.
the only one. There's many of them.
Minima, how many light years do you reckon that might be?
Well, they
Oh,
actually have it on the
Oh,
picture.
6 to 10 billion light years
See?
away.
billions. Okay.
1 billion light years
They're
across.
unfathomable. Can't even fathom that.
I don't know. I don't think that the distances are as far away as they say.
Well,
Because even
you have to look at them.
Well, you
it's
could
not
be
a very
what
good.
we could very well be looking at is the spaces in between two Birkeland currents,
Yeah.
massive Birkeland currents.
Yeah,
So,
that you can't see. They're like,
Because
It's
I think it's all
interesting.
fractal. I think it's all fractal.
where does that mean?
It's just the same
It is
thing.
fractal.
Are humans fractal?
Same thing happening, just in a gets smaller and smaller, or you can.
I get it. Yeah.
Follows the Lichtenberg pattern, the same as the space
Lichtenberg,
does.
yeah.
Yeah, I always say
Lichtenberg,
that
yeah.
wrong.
But I found that some of these events or things that happen electrically present slightly differently on different scales.
I'll agree. Yeah, sure.
And that's the reason why the mainstream science community can't wrap their heads around the electric universe, because we say that electricity happens on all scales, and everything looks different to them.
No, I believe it was Hannes Alfvén, and his quote was,
Yes.
"The gravitational systems are the ashes of prior electrical systems."
Yes. That's what I meant to
There you
say.
go.
I don't know why I memorized everything.
That was in a nutshell. This is me in a nutshell. Ah.
And I think it was Wald that said magnetism is the ashes of the electrical force as
A
well.
byproduct.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, he's right. I mean, we can, just by taking a battery and running a copper wire through it, and then putting two pieces of metal together, and then just tapping the end of that 12-volt battery, they're magnetically glued together now.
What do you think of the magnetic universe people who say that electricity comes from magnetism and everything?
They're right too.
Well, they're partly right,
Technically.
but they're not. But they're not correct in reasoning why there are so many magnetic fields out there. They think that these magnetic fields are generated by static, by these dust clouds, all these particles rubbing up against each other and creating a magnetic field. That's not the case.
But that's just taking the example of
If they
how
could
they
see,
think thunderstorms work.
if they could see the Birkeland current and the flow and the counterflows and all of that going on, generating a hell of a lot more electricity, cooler water, and when you're at night, then cooler water,
Clearly.
and they would see that these magnetic fields are being generated by these Birkeland currents, not by any static electric motion of these gas clouds.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's what
we see
Alfvén's
areas
paper
of space
from
that have
1986.
no gas in them that have these magnetic fields. Sorry, go ahead, Neil.
I was simply going to say that's exactly what Hannes Alfvén was talking about in his paper in 1986 that I was citing there in that picture. So let me I'll just give it to you there, Greg.
Yeah, put it in chat and I'll show it.
There you go. And that's just what he was basically saying. Um, there it is. Yeah. And that, well, not basically what he was saying, exactly what he was saying. This is his paper. This is from the NASA server, as you can see, and it was from May 1986, I think. And you could skip through and just see where he's basically saying, "Don't do this. I was wrong. Don't do this. That's not real." Everything that we
Everything that he got
discussed.
his Nobel Prize for, he
Yeah.
said, don't use it.
Well, not everything, but yes,
Isn't that
Well, yeah,
amazing?
yeah.
That's amazing.
Why?
because he was wrong. He
Because
said
he
that
saw the light. He understood how
he
things
made
work.
simple mistake. His simple mistake was saying that space is superconductive, plasma is superconductive. And once we started using it on Earth in the 50s, we realized, oh, it isn't. But they never changed astrophysics. So that's why we have their version of electricity called magnetohydrodynamics, which is not what they should be studying. If you want to know
It's
how
akin to
this,
static electricity.
well, if you want to know how interactions between, say, Jupiter and Io work, study electrical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And then imagine and start ripping surface off of a metal ball, and you're going to see a cliff.
Discharge from from the Purple Dawn drama.
Pardon?
What was that about the Purple Dawn drama?
That's the last remnant. With what Jupiter and Io were doing, are the last remnant of everything that was taking place at one time like crazy.
Yeah, that would probably be the last connection that there was, because it's still going on now.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, you can you can see they actually, in the pictures of Io, when they're showing you pictures of it, because they flew a spacecraft near it, they had to color. I'm not kidding.
And
call it lava, because it was so bright, it was flooding the sensors. It was an arc reaction, melting that. It's a mile-high canyon.
Yeah, they were calling it a cryovolcano.
Yeah. And I'm like, guys, what the heck? Because it's so cold.
Yeah, because it's so freaking cold, and
I'm like,
especially in its atmosphere.
They think there's ice in the center of the Ceres crater because they saw white light. No.
That's an arc.
Well, they thought it was reflective light, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Jeez.
But they're not trained in it. But to me, it's obvious. Anyone who studied like blowing things up with electricity and watching them just fly apart, or ripping the surface off of materials, or blowing, or just get zapped by a CRT monitor and watch the shape of the craters that are formed in the dust, knows what we're talking about. This is naturally the way it works. I mean, one thing that you can know, you ever do this? This is for everyone here, okay? Have you ever looked at a sci-fi movie and they're bringing you down to a planet with craters on it, right? And you immediately go, that's not real. And you don't know why. Because there's a pattern. There is a pattern. When you look at craters on a surface that is like the moon or Mars or something, you see craters, but you see small craters on the rims of large craters. That has to happen. And if it's not happened on, you think it's fake. And that's what it is. Yep. Your brain knows it's not correct. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that many times. But if you look at any picture of the moon or the Mars at all, you will see that they are clearly electric hits. Because they have to be... Sorry, go ahead.
What was that first movie that had them being shot to the moon through a cannon?
That was 1902, and it was called Trip to the Moon.
You take a look at the picture that they drew of the moon there, you could tell it's fake.
Well, obviously.
They also put a man's face in it.
I thought it was real too.
No, but if they would have put craters on top of craters, then it would have looked more realistic, is what Neil's saying.
You would have noticed it, but any picture of the moon or anything like that, you will see clearly the craters, like there would be a crater and a small crater. You never find a large crater on top of a smaller crater rim, or
And
anything like that.
you see the exact same thing in microscopically looking at
Yes.
electric machine discharge or discharge
In
machine.
fact, that's what they use to make the mirrors that these telescopes are made of.
Here's
But
a
the look,
NASA tidbit that you might find extremely interesting. In around 1929, the Nazis made a propaganda film of a giant rocket that moved really slow on a great crawler. Everything that NASA did with the rocket on the Caterpillar and the guys in their suits getting out and going up to the rocket and then having the dramatic 10, 9, 8, 7 countdown. We thought that was pretty original. No, it was created by a movie maker named Fritz something or other. It's right there on your screen. And it looks like NASA took their book right from his scene, almost. He has the astronauts laying down. You know, it's pretty crazy that that whole thing was contrived by the Nazis before they were the Nazis.
Well,
well, I'm not remotely worried about that because I know that they went to the moon.
Well, considering that
And I'm
a
going to
lot
tell.
of
I can
a lot of
describe it to
Nazi
you why.
engineers came
Right.
from Germany to NASA, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But
Germany
one of the things that you can easily tell, because there are certain things that you could only do in vacuum, and they were not copied in any other film since, like before, since even Capricorn 9, which was a movie hit of the day, didn't do things correctly.
What was the name of that movie?
Which one?
The one you were just talking about, the German.
Yeah, all I know is it's Germany's, there's a name for it, but I can't remember. Moon Mission movie. I'm going to run it on YouTube and see what I
Nazi
come
moon
up.
mission movie would probably find it.
Nazi Moon Mission movie, yeah.
Although I do happen to have Iron Skies, where they shows Nazis on the moon and they come to attack Earth. It's great. 2016.
Yeah, Iron Sky.
Hilarious.
You'll probably get a whole bunch of hits for that
I
one.
think my favorite part was that one where he goes, and the patriotic short film made by Charlie Chaplin. I'm like, wow. You
So,
know, like
what day did this? What's
46.
the date of this? 1946.
I'm trying to, I saw it only once, and that was a long time ago. I recorded it, but I don't have it anymore.
well, if it exists, I'll find it sometime for you.
Yes, I will find it.
I can do it. It's no problem.
Yeah. But there's a whole scene. It's in a movie. It's really crazy.
Well, if it's in a movie,
Yeah. See if they showed it.
oh,
I'll have to find it.
I found it.
Found it?
Well, you're asking a guy who knows how to find things. Okay. Certain words only go certain places. That may or may not be what you're looking for, okay? That's not the screen. I didn't.
That's
We lost you,
a
Jim.
recopy. That's a recopy of the last post.
I just put one in. That may or may not be it. Try it.
Okay, NASA government. No, I'm just getting this thing this abstract from Hans Elfane.
No, you just never clicked it.
Okay, hold on.
Scroll down and click it. That one.
Yeah.
The bottom one. The bottom one. Trust me.
The bottom one that I'm on right now, right?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's why I said you doubled up, dude.
I screwed up. I
Yeah,
thought, okay, my bad. And now I have to go find it again. Well, I'm going to go history.
I tried to tell you you doubled up.
Look,
And
I thought
said,
you were
"Wait,
talking.
No,
I'm talking to. I
no."
thought you were talking to him.
Is it a documentary?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a half a century of the German moon base and German-Japanese flight to the moon.
That's it.
I think he was looking for a propaganda film. That's why I
Yeah,
Well,
specifically
look,
looked for it.
this thing
check
was
this
made
out.
in 1945, according to the
Yeah,
authors of the underground German documentary movie from the Thule Society.
He said
yeah.
it had a lot of
The only
ump
serious
in it,
craft
like
of
a
the
lot of propaganda
Manitoba
music. So I thought it was
lamb or neighbors red hot.
good. That's it? Or
Carrying it down to the launch pad, just like they did in the NASA. It was exactly like that.
And
I'll have to.
they launched it
sorry, I
like they did the
apologize if I
V2
didn't find the right one,
rockets.
but it looked like it was the right
Yeah, that did. It looked very good. I'll find it and I'll
Okay.
share it with you guys when I do, because I don't want to waste too much more time talking about it.
Oh
So,
my God, I
what
could have done
else?
it. Asked on command, please. I
What else is
What else you got there, Greg?
well? There was a subject that's got me really kind of pissed off that I might tell you about. Let the world know that
You need to get a new
you know how
microphone.
California. I do have a new microphone. You can't hear
No,
me?
you're
yeah,
You
I
keep
can hear you good
going.
now.
You
well. You
keep
just
going
going in and
in
out,
and
in and
out,
out, in
in
and
and
out.
Oh,
out.
China is buying Californian water, and Californians are doing without.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. They
That's
use
not
all the water for fracking.
I'm
that's
not
not
trying to be
all.
rude, but
China is buying all the.
you do know that this is capitalism coming to bite you in the ass, right?
No,
And
I,
you do know that China is buying all the land around all the military bases in the United States,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And
yeah,
you did know that China is buying gold mines and all kinds of
And they're sending
mines
over what? I
all
don't
over the
know, like
world, right?
2 million military age troops. They don't have to go look for weapons. They can buy it with their credit card.
yeah,
Thanks, America.
they're selling all of our water.
Well, don't
Hey,
worry,
you're lucky that
we sold.
we let our water go near your border, okay? If we could stop the water from going across the border like the Rio Grande, we'd have you guys nailed. But no.
Greg, don't worry, we sold all our water to you anyway, long time ago.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. We sold the rights to it.
No, we haven't.
The Americans have the right to our water.
No, they have
That's
right to one aquifer, which is underneath the Lake Michigan, which they own the majority of.
If George Washington would have supported Benedict Arnold, Toronto would be part of the United States.
Yeah, well,
Left.
if we decide to finish the job of 1814, you would be part of the British Empire. So there you are.
Yeah, whatever happened with Canada? You guys just kind of like slipped in there.
Do you really want me to tell you exactly what happened?
Yeah.
It's really straightforward. You know that thing that you did to North and South Korea, North and South Vietnam, and East and West Germany, and all that kind of shit that you do, where you divide a country into two?
No, it's not
Well,
me.
that's exactly what they used to do. Like you learned that from the English and the French, who used to go in, divide a country up, and make them fight each other. Well, this is that situation. The French wanted to move ahead. You guys were getting uppity. They helped you and said, here's a bunch of troops, here's a bunch of things, here's how you get your membership, here's a bunch of boots, here's a bunch of everything that you need to do your fighting. And they trained your troops, and it was basically France versus England during part of their 100-year war. The only difference is that instead of being able to continue, France and King Louis XVI got his head chopped off, along with a lot of people. So during the head chopping good times, there was no one who wanted to go and continue that thing that they were doing all the time. So basically, it stopped, and you guys were like, you guys were free. But I mean, you still honored the people like General Lafayette and all the people who helped you. I helped George Washington, but most people don't know it even happened, that the French had anything to do with what you were doing. And then because the French and the British were basically having a war with each other on your territory. You were the Vietnam this time.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
If you think about it, the Indians ganged up to try to take us out.
Wouldn't you?
Some Indians were on our
the,
side, and
yeah,
some Indians were on theirs.
but the British didn't break their word with the natives, even to this day. No, I mean, not pay them directly like that. I mean, they self-govern their own places, but we provide money per year to rent from it, like for rent from them, and we've just maintained that thing. The trouble is, in a lot being self-governed, they can just basically the chief can give all his friends new trucks. He doesn't have to do anything. So basically, it's sort of like a shitty situation that we often get blamed for because we can't exactly go and override their rights.
What is your situation in Canada with immigration? Is it off the hook like it is here?
Oh.
It depends on who you ask, but things because of the like we're getting a lot of immigration from like Bangladesh, the Congo, a bunch of other places too.
Hmm.
But
Million people last year.
but as much as Sarah
11
and
million.
people like me might argue, the one problem is like we all came here from somewhere else. Like I said, look, I'm Scottish Irish. We came over at this time. This is when we arrived. You know, this is how we got land. This is how this all happened. They gave them 40 or 50, 100 acres. So what are you talking about that we didn't get anything like yeah, they did. You know, so I'm trying to say adapting to our culture is not hard. It's pretty laid back. And obviously there's some people who are not happy because there's so much, but to be perfectly honest, if we don't get more, we're going to start decreasing in population. We're just not having the amount of people that we need to maintain growth. And unfortunately, this has also caused another problem too, because we're letting some idiots, in a way, basically do what's happening to your country, where a bunch of Chinese people are biting up all the land. And let's just say, I hope the CIA and the CSIS are both paying attention to that.
Well, you know, as far as buying land, the U.S. can just do to the Chinese or whoever they are, just like they do to Americans, and say, eminent domain, we're taking it back, it's ours.
Yeah, but what if
They could do that to anyone.
what if they have plans, including like on this date, on this thing, you go